welcome to our Zoho Creator webinar. I'm Tawanda Marunga.
And I'm Tamuka Mnangagwa.
We are both going to take you through the journey, which we believe that after this journey, which we have broken down into parts, we would manage to explore the power and what we can get to do with our Zoho Creator within our various businesses and the use cases that we can come across with. For the benefit of those who have not ever had a chance to read about Zoho Creator, Zoho Creator is a low to none code platform which helps you to build your applications. Say, for example, let's say me and Tamuka here, we have our own organization. And then within our organization, we have got various process flows that we might have, which are probably unique for us. And then Tamuka has never done software development, and perhaps maybe myself as well may probably not have any experience, or we are not seasoned software developers.
You don't have experience, but
yeah. So, and then within the Zoho ecosystem, what Zoho did was to create a platform which would allow people like us to be able to develop applications or to extend our system to make sure that we can be able to have some processes that are unique for us to be automated within Zoho Creator. So for this journey, what we are going to do is to try to build an expense management platform, which we are going to start from the beginning up until to the end, as we will go through all the webinars that we shall have the journey together, bring in more solutions, bring in more functionalities to the platform to build it, to make sure that it becomes a comprehensive system that it can be used in any organization. So for us to start, for those who haven't registered to Zoho Creator, what you need to do is you go to your browser and then you type in creator.zoho.com. So when you type in creator.zoho.com, so when you land into your Zoho Creator, you would land into Zoho Creator landing page, which you can sign up using from the landing page, or you can just go in to sign in. And then when you go to sign in, you click on sign up, and then you can sign in from this signing page. But from our end, we have already signed in, so we are going to use our account, which we have already set up. So once you have successfully signed up and signed into Zoho Creator, you would land to the dashboard, which is on display. On the dashboard, by default, it would be on solutions. This is where you are able to create your application, to build your application, to build any solution, to analyze data, and also to automate your business processes. And then the next one, within the nav panel, you would have the microservice under develop section. This is where you can be able to build your connection with the third-party application. If you have got your customer connections that you might want to build and put on Marketplace, this is where you are able to build it. And then on the second section, there is deploy. Within deploy, there is environments. This is where you are able to define whether you would want to put your application in stage or in production. Stage, that's test environment, and then production, that's live environment. And then within that, there is mobile, where you can be able to deploy your application to any native mobile or tablet, or if you would want to run your application from any smart device. And then there is portal. This is where you can create your self-service gateways, which you can share with your customers for them to access your application and be able to interact with your application. And then last on the section, there is manage. This is where you can manage your platform, your Zoho Creator platform in overview. Like there's users, you can manage your users from there. You can add your users to your Zoho. If you have got Zoho One, all your Zoho One users, they would automatically become users as long as you have given them access to Zoho Creator. If you only have Zoho Creator, this is where you can add your users. And then there is organization, when you can manage your organization, where you can do your branding and everything, add your logos. And if you have got organization phone numbers, the addresses, this is where you manage your organizational information. And then there is governance, where you can define your policy rules, where you can define your domains, and then your Active Directory and your customer authentications. And then there is matrix, which will give you the insights of what is trending and how your applications are being used, and how your users are interacting to your applications. And then there is operations, where you can manage various operations within your account using a centralized management. This is where you can see all the audit trails. This is where you can perform your backups. This is where you can manage your APIs, and also to restrict if there are any domains that you not want to interact with your applications. This is where you can manage that. And then there is usage. This is where you can see what is available for you in terms of the subscription that you would have with Zoho Creator. And this also varies depending on the subscription that you have. So from here, for instance, it can tell us that for the package that we have, or for the subscription that I have about 500,000 records, which I haven't used any. I have unlimited applications to create. And then the storage capacity is also defined. And then the portal users that I can invite on my subscription or any application. Here you can say I can invite users, 3 users, and then schedule tasks that I can have, and then the API calls that I can get to have. Everything. This is where you can get to manage and be able to see how your platforms have consumed everything that you have within your application. So for now, we are going to dive deep into all these elements that I have talked about in other webinars that we shall have in the near future. But for today, we are going to focus more on the solutions. So when you go into solutions, you then click in Create Solution. So basically, there are 4 ways that you can create a solution. You can start by from scratch, and then you can create based on templates that are available. These are pre-built applications that are available. So if you go to pre-built templates that are available, you would find that there are at least quite a number of templates that have been built and that are at our disposal that can give us a starting point depending on our requirements. And then the third one, you can create a solution based on a file import. So if you have, if let's say, for example, you have been working on an Excel sheet, and then everything that you were doing it from an Excel sheet or from an Excel file, and then you want to build an application based on your workflows that you had on your Excel sheet. You can simply create that application using Zoho Creator by just uploading those Excel sheets. Or if you have maybe a unique database that you have, and then you can actually create an application by just uploading the GAP files for that application. And then the fourth one, which is quite fascinating, is creating a solution using Zia. So if you have, let's say, ChatGPT, an account with OpenAI, and then you integrate your OpenAI with Zoho Creator, you can just create, or Zoho Creator can create an application for you by just interacting with Zia.
For people that want to cheat.
Yeah. For people like Tamuka here who would love shortcuts or who doesn't want to create or to have the experience of creating application, obviously they would just talk to Zia and then they would give Zia their use cases and what they expect to see from the platform, and then Zoho Creator will create.
Essentially, work smart, not hard.
Yeah, that's working smart. I agree with you on that. So let's jump. We are going to create our platform from scratch for the purpose of this webinar. And then when you create your platform from scratch, you would land to a page which is a form that would allow you to enter the name or to define the name of your application. So for this application, we are going to say, webinar expense management. And for now, we are not going to define the environment. We are going to do it at a later stage. So once you have defined the name of your application, you would have, on top you would have, by default, you would land on a design page. This will allow you to create forms, any data input or data gathering elements that you would want on your application. This is where you can design them. And then there is a workflow panel which would allow you to define the workflows, or if you have any automations that you would want to define, this is where you be able to do them. And then there is settings where you can define those settings for your application. So we are going to create a form. Creating forms, you can either create forms based on from scratch, or you can create them based on an input of data, like what I have said before. It follows the same concept. You can create forms based on interacting with Zia. That is, if you have integrated with OpenAI. And then you can also use predefined templates that are available for you to create forms depending on your requirements. Or else you can use the integrated data sources that are available. For now, I think we have quite a number of predefined data sources that are there on the Zoho marketplace. But if they are not, if there are any which are not there, I think from the beginning of this session, I showed you where the section for microservices, where you can customly develop your connections, which you can get to use. And then once you have that, they can also be available here and be used as a way of creating forms. So we are going to create our form from scratch. The first form for our application, let's create maybe, let's say, employees module. That would be the first form that we are going to use to at least to be able to capture data for our employees. Tamuka will help us to create that.
So we'll just name the form employees.
And then create.
Yeah, let's not. So basically, we're going to drag the first field that we want, we drop it here, and then you edit it on the right here. This is where you edit the information.
Maybe before we get down into creating the form, let's maybe just have an overview of what fields are available for us to be able to use. So you would find that when you jump into your design page of your form design page, you would find that there are fields which are categorized into, I think, about 3 sections. The first would be the basic fields. The basic fields, you would probably have the name fields, which would allow you to capture a name for any person, and then there is email field, which is and then there is address field, and also there are selection fields, which would give you like a drop down, and then the radio and the mod select, and then the checkbox. Those are select fields. And then there are also date fields, which are available for you. And then we also have advanced fields. If you want to have decision boxes within your form, and your rich text, and your image uploads, and then any URL input fields, and then the signatures, the subforms, which would allow you to have a form which you can embed within a form, and then the lookup field, which would allow you to be able to view or to use data from another module. And then we have got audio, and then the video fields. And then among other fields, we also have the special fields, which would have the section fields, which can allow you to group fields depending on to group fields based on how you would want to organize your fields within your form. And then there are integration fields, and then there are user fields, which would allow you to, let's say, if you would want to assign any entry to a specific user within your system, this is the field that you use. And then we have got AI fields, the prediction fields, and then the keyword extraction, which would allow you to extract keywords within maybe a multi-text field or a single line field. And then we have got the OCR fields, which would allow you to read text from an image or from a PDF document. And then we have got a sentiment analysis field, which would allow you to give rate or to get a sentiment based on a response that has been given by a user. And then we have got an object detection fields, which would allow you to identify objects within an image. So you can go.
We're starting with the name.
Yes.
So when you select a field, it's just you drag and drop it, like I did with this one, the name field. And then you add the information you're editing comes up on the right. This is where you change the field name. And then the field name link changes as you change the name as well. And then with regards to the name, you have to know whether you need a prefix or a suffix for your name, or it's just first name and last name. And then you tick the boxes that you want to use for the name. And if the field is supposed to be viewed by everyone, you select that part. And then if it's only supposed to be viewed by admin only, you have to specify. And then field size, you have to specify the size of the field you want, medium or large. And you can put a description for the field, and then you can set the description text that you'd want for that particular field. And you can choose whether you want to make the field mandatory or not. Okay, so we just leave it as name. As you see, when I typed the field name, the field link name updated automatically to match what we had put in the field name. What next field? So for the ID, we're going to use a single line field. Name should be mandatory as well. Okay. So for the email, we're going to use the email field. We drag and drop that. And then we'll just name it employee email. And then we make this, and then we make this mandatory as well. And we make sure there are no duplicate values for the email. And that's what we do. What next?
Department.
And then we're going to have departments in this organization. So we'll need a drop-down field for the departments. Here it is. So with regards to a drop-down field, you have multiple ways you can actually upload the choices. Sometimes you have a predefined choices where you get maybe gender or age. So if you select these, it just inserts them automatically for you as choices. That is if you want to use them. And then you can have, you can copy the current choices to a clipboard if you are trying to copy and paste them to some other drop-down field. And then you have choice value character limit. Basically, this is limiting the number of characters that will be there in that particular choice. Okay, so what choices are we adding?
Let's use any marketing.
Let me just remove this. So we're going to have marketing department, finance department, operations department.
Let's use those for now.
Okay, and those are the ones we're going to use for now. What's the next thing?
Let's see if the manager is a lookup field to the employees, but
we'll have. So for now, we're going to add a lookup field for the managers, but we're going to have to create the managers. So we're going to have to create the manager form so that we're then able to look up that particular managers. Who is employee? Name. Okay, and that's it.
yeah.
No need for more to select. Done. So the name should be managers, right? Manager, just one manager. Okay, is there anything else we need here? Mandatory?
Yeah, mandatory. Yes.
And then, yeah, that's about it. Is that for the employee?
Yeah, that's for the employee.
So that's all for the employee form. Done. So what it then does is it gives you the form, and then it also gives you the part where you'll see the list of employees after you've added them. And then adding the next one.
Yeah, let's add the next one. Yeah, so what we have done thus far is we have managed to create the employee module within our application. And like what Tamuka has said, as you'll be creating forms, Zoho Creator, what it does is also create a table within your database, and then automatically a report for all your employees would be created as well. So if you can get to see, let's say if you go to access application, so if you access your application already, you would find that you have got an entry form which you can enter or which you can load in your employees. And then underneath, you would find that there is a report, all employees. A report, what basically does is it will show you a table of all the employees that you would have loaded within your system. So from here, you can even import all your employees, or you can just add individual by just completing that form. So let's move on for our application, and then we now create the second module for our application. Which will be the expense submission module.
So to create a new one, you just go to add new, and then we're creating another form, right?
Yes.
From scratch, expense submission.
Yes.
Create form. What's the first field?
So on our expense submission, we would need to have an employee, because an expense is done based on an employee. So we would need an employee name, which would be
Lookup field. We're using a lookup field home.
That's correct.
Employees. Name. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then we would need a department.
Why do I keep missing the drop down? Oh, I'm on the wrong section. Drop down. This is where we needed that copy and paste for those of us that work smart. Department.
And then the next one would need the date of expense.
Mandatory for this one. Now for the date of expense, we're going to use a date field. And date of expense. Mandatory. Done.
Done. And then we need the expense category. Drop down.
Categories input.
Transport.
Is it travel?
Travel.
Food. What other expense can you think of?
Cell phone allowance. Let's use those for now.
Mandatory. Next one.
Let's use the currency. That's the amount.
The amount. Advanced. So basically, we're going to use a currency field for the amount, and that came from the advanced fields. Then what next?
Use the attachment field for the receipt.
Attachment field. Image.
Yeah, that would be
We use an image field for the receipt. An image receipt.
Yeah.
Receipt. And then what next?
Can you also tick whether they came from camera?
Oh, yes. So with this particular field, you have the option of choose the local camera if you're using your phone. That way you can just take a picture of the receipt. And then you can actually make it compress the image as well for the sake of storage. And yeah, you can choose to show a preview before they update. And yeah, I think that's all we need.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
And then you would have a status.
That's a drop down.
That's a drop down, yes. And then drop down, but for now, let's use the radio buttons.
Radio. Yeah, radio is a separate option. Okay, status.
Choices. So if you click there at the end, you can be able to let it.
Okay. Pending.
Approved and rejected.
Rejected.
Yep.
Okay. Mandatory. Okay. And the fields.
And then use submission date.
Date field.
I should check the current date.
Oh, submission date. It's just supposed to take the current date. Do I actually need a field for this?
No, you may not.
Because it will just take the creation date.
Yeah, correct. You can So yeah, basically for the submission date, we thought we might not need to put in a date simply because we just use submission date as the submission date of the record as the submission date of that expense.
Yes.
So we won't need any field for that.
Any other field?
I think for the expense submission, that's all we would need. And let's access our application and maybe try to make sure that if we can be able to load in an employee and also an expense. Not just
that field was not supposed to be mandatory.
yes.
Just quickly go and rectify that. So what's going on is that we needed to select a manager, but there was no one in the system as yet. So we don't have an option to select any manager. But once we do have people in the system, then we can make the field mandatory. But for now, we have to make sure it's not mandatory so that we're able to then add the first person. Okay. And we'll put hours.
Just 01. No, that's ID.
Oh, sorry.
Email, calendar,
So once we've added an employee, if you go to all employees, that information is there. You'll see the employee you added, and you have a few options here of how you'd be able to view that particular information as a list. That's the view we're looking at right now. And then if you select spreadsheet, you have it as a spreadsheet, and you also have the option to edit it. If you double click on it, you're then able to edit under spreadsheet. And then if you go to Kanban, you select the type of Kanban you want, and then you have to select the grouping that you want for the Kanban. So if you want a departmental grouping, it will then show you like this, that these are the people in the marketing department, and that's the person that's been created. And then if you want to print, you then just select the print option you want, and then you can import or export them as a CSV, Excel file, or PDF. These are the options of the file formats that you get. And we add an expense submission.
Add another employee and then associate manager.
So you also have an option of adding someone from here. You click that plus.
As Tamuka is adding employees, if we have any questions, please feel free to text in to the question box. If you have any questions of what we have showed you thus far, please feel free to ask, and then we will respond to your questions at the end of this session.
So now we have 2 employees in 2 different departments. It made you a manager of that one, but in different departments. You need an email address. Do I put dummy ones now?
Yeah.
Let me actually change these ones so that it's actually your name. So you can actually edit the information after submitting the first time. So let me just add Tawanda's name here since it's already is. Update. And in here, you can just put mine, and then every other record we create will be a dummy name. Okay. So with regards to those Kanban views, looking for the part to change the view. Now you can select grouping by manager as well, since we now have managers assigned. So now Tawanda is managing Tamuka and Susan. And then expense submissions. So we can add an expense. So we select the person or the employee that we want to add an expense for. She's in the marketing. And then the date of expense could have been the 10th of April. Expense category food. And then amount 1,200. I don't have an image. No. Oops. I need to click upload actually. I hope I have a dummy picture. Just add an image of that. And then approved. And submit. Now we have one expense added. And then this is what it would look like. An expense for the employee Susan, marketing, and then a picture of the receipt. and then it shows that it's approved. So that's how that would work. But if you're actually using this from a mobile device, it will then access your camera phone, and then you're able to take a picture of the receipt. Do I add another one?
No, thanks. All right. So basically, that's what we have managed to do for this session. Thus far is we have managed to have an overview of what Zoho Creator is, the dashboard, the elements that are there, and what you can get to do with it, just as a high-level overview. And then we have managed to explore into creating application, which is a Zoho expense, but what we have just only did is to create forms. But from just what we have just done simply by the drag and drop that we are doing, we have at least Zoho Creator has managed to create the crude operations for us. We didn't need to do anything in terms of the crude operations. So as we have demonstrated, our application can be able to create a record already, and you can be able to edit a record without even programming anything to be able to do any of those. And then we can also be able to delete or even to update a record. So those are just our basic crude functions that we can be able to do by just creating the drag and drops of the application.
And for those that are wondering what CRUD means, as Tawanda is saying it, CRUD is an abbreviation, CRUD, which means create, read, update, and delete. Those are the operations that are being done behind the scenes with our Creator.
And also Creator has managed to create a database for us at the backend, which we didn't need to do. So specifically, if you are building an application from scratch, if you've done programming, you would have need to build a database. Yeah. You would need to build all the forms. You would need to have a backend language that you use to make sure that those crude operations are possible. Yes. But for this, for Zoho Creator, there is no need for us to code anything. Everything was just being done automatically as we create our forms. And then what you have seen again is for our application thus far, it's not perfectly working, because what we can get to do is to create employees and be able to assign them to managers. Yes. But what we would then need to look into next is the workflows, to be able to set up the workflows that would manage to make sure that at least you can only be able to assign an employee to a manager within the same department. Yes. Because from your demonstration, thus far our application can be able to assign any person from any department to any manager. So now we need to make sure that in our next webinar, we should be able to look deep into the workflows, what we can get to automate in terms of assigning departments, in terms of also even in expense. The moment that you look up to an employee which you are going to assign an expense to, a department should automatically be auto-populated. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we are going to do in our next session is based on the workflows, the custom functions, to make sure that we can be able to automate our application and be able to make sure that some of the approval processes can be done. Yeah. But for today, it was just about the introduction of the platform itself and how we can be able to create forms. Yes. 100%. I'm not too sure if we have got any questions that we have. We are going to maybe just give ourselves in the next 2 minutes to see if we would have questions, and then we can respond to your questions if you have any questions from the introductory part that we have just did throughout the previous 1 hour. You can see there are no questions. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this webinar. Zoho Creator Part 1, getting started to Zoho Creator Part 1. We hope to see you again on our Part 2 when we are going to dive into workflows, custom functions, and also approval processes for the application that we are building.
Thank you.